What's up, everybody? My name is Lance. I'm the host of the Health and Real Estate Podcast. And today's guest is Eric Misch. He went from climbing the corporate ladder to now complete freedom, health freedom, time freedom, money freedom. And so we're going to go into that a little bit. So I just want to hand it over to Eric and we'll kind of talk about where it all started, just your health and your health journey. And that leads us into everything else.
Yeah, well, thanks, first of all, Lance, for having me on today. I'm really excited to share a little bit about my story, my journey, what started the search for the things you mentioned, and then where I am today. So it all started about 13 years ago. I was on a personal health journey, and what triggered the whole thing was that I started experiencing some health issues that I found out later were related to gut health. I was working a very demanding corporate job at the time, in corporate sales with all the lofty sales goals and the hustle, as I call it,
Mm.
in the grind. And so it was a challenge to maintain my health, find good nutrition, keep my energy levels high because on a daily basis I needed to be, you know, upbeat and high energy to close those clients and keep the wheels moving. So I found with that kind of pace that it was starting to take a toll, and it started showing up in my stress levels. I started experiencing the energy decline, especially in the afternoons, and I was relying on caffeine and stimulants just to get me through the day. Now, I live here in South Florida where coffee is culture. This is, down here in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, that we have a very high Latin population, and it's all about the coffee, the cafecito, café con leche. It's all day long. And so it starts in the morning and it ends at night. It goes all day long.
Wow.
And so I found that in due time, I was drinking 6 to 8 cups of strong Colombian or Cuban coffee a day without even realizing it. So I was way overstimulated, overcaffeinated. My adrenal glands were showing signs of fatigue. And I was really just trying to get through each appointment to the next one with artificial stimulation. And that pace could not be maintained for very long. So I was experiencing heart palpitations, like I said, having trouble sleeping, uh, just feeling anxious. And I knew something had to be done. And at the same time, my immune system started suffering and I was getting sick way too often. I ended up getting the swine flu when it was going around back several years ago. And that really wrecked my immune system. I was put on multiple rounds of antibiotics. And I realized that there was one common denominator here, and that was the nutrition that I was consuming, really the lack of nutrition to keep my body healthy, to nourish my cells and keep my energy levels up. So that's when I started on a search. And I literally started Google searching and watching some of the documentaries. And it brought me to a nutrient dense, superfood powered plant based diet. That's where my research led me to. And so, yeah, it all started right there. And well, I'll take a break so you can interject.
Yeah, I totally get that. I used to run off coffee. I still do one, maybe 2 cups a day. But, now I just like to drink coffee for the flavor and, like, more so the habit. Like, I love a warm cup when it's cold out, and I love iced latte when it's, warm out. So, it's more habitual, but I know if I drink coffee past noon, I am wired. I cannot sleep at night. So, I don't really rely on the caffeine anymore. So I'm not sure if you still drink a coffee or 2 every now and then, or you completely kicked it?
Every now and then, it's a rare occurrence.
Mhm.
I'm a huge fan of herbal tea now. I switched over, and I discovered the energizing power of raw foods. I never realized how much energy was in raw,
Mhm.
live, living foods. I was just amazed at how some minor adjustments in my diet had such a huge effect in how I was feeling. And so, I'm not saying I, completely have cut coffee out, but it's turned into a maybe once every few weeks on a rare occasion situation, coming from multiple times a day just to get through the day. So I'm much less reliant on it, and it is a drug.
Mhm.
It's addictive like any other drug. It's one of those things that as you continue incorporating it, at least for me, it was never enough. And I just
Mhm.
felt myself like always needing and wanting more and more and more. And that's kind of the danger of it, is that, where does it end? And so I realized that I needed to turn that trend around.
Absolutely, and I'm leaning more towards the way of, like, herbal teas because I do like to drink something warm in the mornings. But you mentioned that you get energy now from superfoods, which is just a term that I learned probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I never heard of it before until Purium, to be honest. I was like, "What the heck is a superfood?" So, do you wanna tell the people, like, what a superfood is?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And I didn't know about what superfoods were all about before I had this whole transformation either. So all food has, or let's say most of it, 99% of it has some nutritional value. It's made up of either macro and or micronutrients. Could be calories, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, or micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, enzymes that our body needs to metabolize nutrients, to absorb them into our cells, and to provide us with the fuel that we need to get through our days. So superfoods are a special class of foods, though. They're highly micronutrient dense per calorie. And that was a huge shift for me, is not just looking at foods in terms of macronutrients, but also in terms of micronutrients. So I started changing my approach and realizing that not all foods created equal. Food may give us the calories we need, but not the amount of nutrients. So it's very possible to be overfed and undernourished. I never knew that was possible before. And so I realized that was my case. So when I switched over to foods that were very dense in micronutrients per calories, I started seeing a huge shift. So that's the difference.
Definitely, and that's a big problem in the US is many Americans are overfed and underweight and undernourished. So that's the beauty of these superfoods is it flip-flops that. It's a very high nutrient dense food, but low calories. So it completely
That's it.
flip-flop that. So that's exactly what every American should start being on to help with that.
Yeah. Well, being in a very demanding sales and corporate environment, energy is key. And
Mhm.
I just needed a better source, a more sustainable source of energy. So as soon as I started consuming these superfoods and mushroom blends daily, I started feeling a shift within days. It didn't take very long. And there was some detoxification that was needed in the process. So, one of the things that I jumped into was an ultimate lifestyle transformation. It was a little bit different back then. Now it's been refined. But back then, it was a 7 to 10 day program. And it just consisted of consuming a nutrient dense dehydrated form of these superfoods daily, multiple times a day, about 3 to 4 times per day. Taking a very efficient protein amino acid that is essentially a highly digestible form of protein, so I wasn't losing muscle mass, and a tart cherry, which is loaded with melatonin at night, and then a gut support component, and uh, uh, a heavy metal and parasite cleanse. And when I put all those components together, I started seeing massive change. It resulted in weight loss. I lost about 20 pounds in just a month. I was amazed at that because I wasn't even trying to lose weight. I was just trying to get healthy again. But that just came as a result. But it wasn't just the weight, it was a leaner physique that I was achieving. It wasn't just I'm losing water weight. I mean, there was some of that, but it was I could see the definition in my
Yep.
midsection and I saw the muscle tone coming back. So I think a lot of people get caught up in weight loss as the goal, but when you're trying to achieve health, the either the weight gain or the or healthy weight loss is going to come as a result. I really believe the body will find its state of homeostasis, its state of balance when you just focus on feeding it the right nutrients, and that's what I saw.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And I feel like when you eat real foods, it gives you exactly what your body needs. So, for instance, when I did the ULT, the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, I was already very lean. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. After the 30 days, I think I lost like 3 pounds. But that 3 pounds on me being very lean, like I looked even more like ripped and shredded, but my energy was through the roof. I got stronger. I had more sustained energy. I slept better. So this isn't just for weight loss, but a lot of like athletes use this. It's like premium fuel for your muscles as well. So it gives you exactly what the body needs.
That's exactly it. And the energy component is so critical because unless we have the energy and we feel the energy, we're not going to want to be active. We're not going to want to work out. So,
Definitely.
exercise and fitness, moving our bodies is an essential pillar to good health. But let's face it, if we don't have the energy, we're not going to want to do it.
Mm,
Oftentimes, and this is where it creates the perfect storm because I would come home from work and yeah, I wanted to work out or I knew I should work out, but I just didn't have the energy. I'm so tired. All I wanted to do is sit on the couch and watch TV and consume more empty calories. And so that's where the vicious cycle comes in. So when you feel the energy on less calories, but they're more nutrient dense, like you said, it flips that ratio. And I found myself, at one point I couldn't sit still. Like I was, want to come home and go for a jog, go for a walk, do a little workout. So it jump started an entire life or restarted my passion for fitness. And I started getting into running and cycling and endurance sports, which I never had done before. I really started to love them. turned from like this hate relationship with running and cycling to something that I actually enjoyed and looked forward to. Got into, you'll see back here, I've kind of see my medals back there, started running marathons and half marathons. And, I really started getting into it. So long story short, this turned into not just a 30-day program, but a sustainable lifestyle.
definitely. I couldn't agree more. And it also, like you were saying, it doesn't just make you look good, but it makes you feel good. It gives you so much energy, not just physical. What I noticed, I had more mental alertness, more mental
Yes.
energy. I could go into like deep work flow state for longer and achieve it more. That was one of the biggest things that I felt because I was already, fairly in shape and had energy. But when I got that mental clarity and deep work focus, I was like, "Whoa." And I had that sustained energy to work all day. I didn't get that 2 PM slump. And then when I would come home, I would be still have energy to hit the gym or run or whatever. So, it's
It's
awesome.
so true.
What
Yeah.
so the Purium Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, their flagship thing, that's the ULT. It has those 5 products, the Power Shake, which is your super greens. It's like a meal replacement, has the super aminos, which is the leanest, cleanest protein. Has the apothecary, which is just pure tart cherry. You just drink that at night. That gives you that deep REM sleep, recover. It has supports with anti-aging. Has the biomedic, which is the gut support. So that's one thing I learned about a lot that I never really considered was gut health. And now it's becoming a big trend. But a lot of things I didn't know is like your gut is like your second brain. Your gut produces something like 80% of your immune system. And also, it's like a large percentage, like 70% of like your serotonin, your happy, feel good hormones. So when your gut's out of whack, everything's out of whack. So it just, another thing, once I healed my gut and cleansed it, I just became more happy and more confident. I feel like that was another side effect that I didn't expect to feel.
You know what's so cool is that when I look at my W-2 income over the course of that history, I can actually match my W-2 to my health journey.
Mm,
And that's the thing that a lot of professionals don't realize is that the performance of our bodies and our gut and our brains directly affects our productivity as professionals. And one of the things that I'm so passionate now about is helping professionals and entrepreneurs operate on their highest level based on their physical, mental, and emotional health. They're all tied together. It's so important. And what I love about this program is that it addresses all of those different pillars of health. It doesn't leave anything out. And so, as professionals and entrepreneurs, we work a lot on mindset, but I find so many of them, they're out of shape, they're eating terrible, and wondering why they're struggling. Why do they have the brain fog every day? Why is it that they struggle focusing? They sometimes lack creativity, brain blocks. And I found that so many of these things are related to that gut brain connection that you mentioned. So once 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 people address this, it's like a whole new world opens up to them, and it's just so cool to see the dynamic impact that this has on people's lives, even financially. Anyone in a production role that is commission based, if you are not taking care of your health, you are leaving money on the table. And this is why it's such a good investment. I can't think of a better investment in one's future than to invest in our health. So, yeah, I really saw the impact, even from a financial sense. It really made a huge difference.
definitely. Health is wealth. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. There's some saying, it goes something along the lines of a healthy person has 100 problems. An unhealthy person only has one problem, and that's
That's
their
it.
health. If you don't
That's
have
it.
your health, you don't have anything. Like everything else goes by
Bingo.
wayside. You could have all these
Well said.
meetings and all this important stuff, but if you get the flu or you break your leg or something, none of that matters. It's only your health.
That's right.
So it's
That's
better
right.
to there's another
Amen.
it's better how's this one go? So here it goes. An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of the cure. So
Love that.
definitely. And that's exactly what this program does. It helps prevent major, sickness, or it helps with longevity. And it's so simple. One thing I would want to touch on is what makes Purium and their products so different and so unique. Like, why do these work?
Yeah. In one sentence, for me, it checks all the boxes. There's a bunch of quote unquote competing products out there. I mean, nowadays you can go on Amazon and in literally less than 5 seconds, you can find a whole list of green powders and superfood formulas, mushroom blends, all these different products that are out there. And the reality is that many of them, most of them, if not all of them, do check some of the boxes, but there's only one that checks all of the boxes. How do I know that? I've done my research and I continue to do my research.
Awesome.
And so for me, I feel like if I'm going to put anything into my body, I want to put the very best. And certainly if I'm going to recommend something, I want to recommend the absolute very best. That's who I want to represent. That's who I want to put my reputation behind. So some of those only factors are number one, the fact that it's USDA certified organic. That's so important. There's no binders, fillers, artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners. The other thing that's important is that they're third party tested. And that's huge because recently there has been some dehydrated protein blends and superfood formulas that have shown they've been tested by outside laboratories, and they found high levels of glyphosate, which is an herbicide. They found heavy metals. They found other pathogens at times. And so the transparency that this company offers by providing all of those certificates of analysis without having to pull teeth and beg for them, they're made readily accessible because they don't have anything to hide, is huge for me. In addition to providing third party testing, they also test in house as well. And what's unique about this company is that they are the manufacturer. They're not just outsourcing that to another company and just throwing their label on there. They're working directly with the growers, the farmers that are growing these nutrient dense uh, herbs and superfoods in regenerative soil.
Mhm.
And they're bringing those raw ingredients into their facility, dehydrating them at very low temperatures so that all of the natural and live enzymes are maintained. They're not destroyed in a heating process. And they're doing it the slow way, the expensive way, the hard way, but the right way.
Yes.
And the result is a quality of product that cannot be matched. So that's really important when we're talking about raw food, live food, living food that naturally is loaded with enzymes which helps us to absorb those nutrients and utilize them in an efficient way. If those precious enzymes, if those enzyme chains are destroyed through an accelerated heating process, we've lost a major component in the nutritional value.
Mhm.
So most companies aren't doing this. They're using methods to process the ingredients so that it's faster, it's cheaper, they can get it to market quicker. And so I just appreciate the painstaking process that this company utilizes. They only work with very specific farmers that they've had relationships with for decades. And by the way, it's not a new company. This company's been around for well over 20 years. They've been in the green foods business for almost 30 years. The owners that I personally know, Dave Sandoval and Amy Venner. So what it boils down to, Lance, is trust. When we go to the grocery store and we buy organic produce, we're trusting that what's on the label is accurate.
Mhm.
But what if it isn't? Are we verifying it? I mean, it's happened. It's happened on numerous occasions where even in organic spinach, they found salmonella, they found, E. coli, and it's led to poisoning. They found levels of herbicides and pesticides that were not acceptable, especially in organic produce. And so we trust greatly our food sources. We go to restaurants all the time and ask minimal questions, if any. We trust that our food is being prepared properly in sanitary conditions, and we don't really know.
Mhm.
And so I just appreciate the painstaking process that this company goes through to make sure that our food is not only safe, that it's as effective as possible. And what we get to our doorstep is, we call this a farm to family concept. It's essentially the only other way to do this would be to go directly to the farmers ourselves. Farmers that we knew were keeping their word, that cared about what goes in the soil, that allows the soil to rest, that have a rotation process. They're regenerating soil. They're not just planting the same crops season after season so that the soil is so nutrient depleted after a few years that it has virtually no benefit to it. So these are the differences, and I just really appreciate the care that Purium takes. all of their formulas are in uh, biodegradable packaging. I mean, even down to the packaging, they spent over 5 years developing packaging that is both strong and durable in the packaging and the shipping process, but yet is biodegradable.
Mhm.
Microplastics are a major issue these days. The average American consumes, on average, the equivalent of a credit card in microplastics every single year. And it's leading to cognitive disorders, all kinds of issues in the body, carcinogens, cancer, even. And so, most of the products that we see on Amazon or in our local grocery store or health food store, they're in plastic. They're not packaged in biodegradable packaging. So they just pay attention to every single detail, and that's what I really appreciate about this company.
Absolutely. One thing that I learned about it too is I always thought organic was like the top rated thing for food quality. And now I'm like, oh, organic's just kind of the baseline for health now. Because even a lot of the organic stuff still has, they could still allow a small percentage of glyphosate or pesticides in it, but also, that necessarily doesn't mean that they were grown, the products were grown in nutrient dense soil that use regenerative farming practices. Most organic isn't. So, the quality of your food is only as good as the quality of the soil. And once I learned that,
Absolutely.
that was something I never knew of and they never talk about. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, it makes perfect sense
yeah.
now once you learn
It all starts with the soil. The soil is everything, and
exactly. And
s
most organic stuff isn't grown in nutrient dense soil. So it all starts with that. And then to go one step further, Purium even has another label. I think it's the glyphosate residue free label. Are you familiar with that?
yeah. Yeah, so they've actually partnered with, some third-party organizations like the Detox Project, to certify some of their products. And then, the fact that they have an entire line of kosher products. They have products that, 98% of them are completely vegan and plant-based, for those that subscribe to that lifestyle. They have products that are gluten-free for those that might be celiac or highly gluten insensitive. But there's a certain commonality between all of them, and that is that you'll never find any binders, fillers, artificial ingredients, sweeteners, nothing like that. Nothing of an artificial nature will ever be found in a Purium product because immediately, as soon as if that ingredient even would be introduced, it would be rejected. That's against their purity commitment. And having worked with the company now for 13 years, I've seen that commitment even to the point where if because they continue to evaluate the different ingredient providers and farmers that they work with, and if anything changes, like they find some kind of something artificial that ends up in the product or attached to the ingredient, it immediately gets rejected right at the source before it's even packaged. So a lot of care goes into it. Most companies don't take that much care. And many of them, what you see on Amazon, most of them, the majority of them, they're not manufacturing that product. They're simply marketing it. So all they're doing is they're working with another third party. And when you do that, you lose a lot of control over the manufacturing process. It also adds additional cost. And but ultimately it comes down to the quality of the product. So I'm willing to pay more. If someone tells me, hey, listen, this product's going to be $10 more, but it's grown in regenerative soil. Because when you rotate soil, you can't grow as much on it. In a 5-year period, you cannot the yield is smaller.
Mhm.
But I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely if they you tell me, hey, listen, it's going to cost a little bit more, but we can ensure that what you're consuming is twice or 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% more nutrient dense, I'm willing to pay for it. And that being said, and the products really aren't more expensive, but they certainly are of higher quality than what you'd find in the general marketplace.
Definitely. Yeah, nothing that I've ever had compares to the quality of these products. They also have a 60-day money back guarantee. I don't know many businesses that
Huge.
have been in business for over 20 years with the 60-day money back guarantee. If it didn't work, they wouldn't be in business.
That's right.
So,
That's
yeah,
right.
I'll leave
And you
link.
can feel the difference when
Oh
you
yeah.
like, if you compare. I've tried other wheatgrass powders in the past, and, people tell me, "Oh, yeah, I've tried that for I've been drinking something like that for the last 3 years, and I don't really feel a difference." And then they try the Power Shake, they try our Kamut blend, they try our Can't Beat This, and they feel it within minutes. Like, "Hey, what's in this stuff?"
Yep.
And it's because of the enzymes and the purity and the density of nutrients. You can really feel the difference almost instantly for most people.
100%. And I'm going to leave a link in the show notes where I have a $50 gift card for any first time buyers. All you have to do is spend $75 or more and you get $50 off. So,
Amazing.
yeah, $75 worth of product for $25. You don't like it, get your money back. As easy as that.
Can't lose.
So, yes, products were amazing. You had an amazing health transformation. And then it helped with your sales at your very demanding corporate job, but you're not in that corporate job anymore. You
No,
all
no.
in on superfoods. So tell us about that transition.
Yeah. So, I was, as I said, doing very well in this corporate environment, making good money, had all the company perks, the 401k plan, the company car, traveling the world, all those things that come with those kinds of positions. But the old saying, you may have heard this before, Lance, you dig your well before you're thirsty.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't wait until you're drinking from the fire hose. Like, you don't wait. A mentor of mine told me that years ago, and it turned out to be some excellent advice. One of the things that dooms many people, I see it a lot in the professional world, is complacency. Complacency. And to a degree, I may have gotten a bit complacent. And if it wasn't for some inspiring mentors that kind of took me under their wing and said, listen, you may want to think about your exit strategy even before you may need one. And I didn't realize the magnitude of those words at the time, but later on I would realize how important that was. And so I started thinking, because me with, my sales marketing background, I'm like, we have an unbelievable, amazing product, so much demand for it, and product second. I mean, every good business model has to start with a great product, I believe. I mean, that's just where it starts. And then I started thinking, how many people could benefit from this product? How many people could use an upgrade in their nutrition? How many people are looking for better health? And then I started looking around, I started looking at my peers, and I'm like, well, just about everyone. I mean, the demand is there. I mean, this is something that, because everyone eats food. I don't care who you are. Like, everyone eats food. It's just a matter of what kind of food do you eat? Do you eat regular, what we call the standard American diet food? Do you eat maybe something a little bit upgraded? Or are you eating the most nutrient potent superfoods like what we're consuming? Are you where? But you're somewhere on that continuum. So either way, you're buying food every month. I mean, you have to spend money on food somewhere. And for most people, they might not put a lot of thought into it. Maybe it's a combination of doing some grocery shopping and then eating out once in a while, maybe some beverage runs, going to Starbucks, whatever it is. But you're consuming from all these different sources. And so I started thinking, I said, well, what if we could get people to transfer spend some of what they're already spending today? So whatever their monthly budget is for food, like if they're spending $1,000, $800, $500, $1,500, 2,000, whatever they're spending on food, it doesn't matter. Whatever they're spending, take a portion of that, anywhere from $1 to $200 a month, and transfer spend over to higher quality food. And I said, well, if we could get them to do that, and it was easy and it was affordable and it made a difference in their health, they'd probably do it and they'd start feeling as good as I was feeling. And I'm like, this is a pretty awesome business model. I'm like, this could be a business. And then I started digging a little further, and I found out that they have this incredible gift card marketing system, which was a huge game changer. And you just mentioned it, the ability to share gift card codes with people who were looking for an upgrade like this. And at the same time, I also saw this as a way to help people save money, because instead of just consuming these empty calorie foods and beverages, spending all that money there, they could probably consume a lot less food, consume more nutrients, and essentially save money. And I saw it in my own budget. I saw my overall food consumption go down with this. So I'm like, this is like a home run. And so I decided a few months in to join as what we call a brand partner, an affiliate partner, call them influencers now, but you can pretty much call them whatever you want. But that's essentially what it is. And just share this with a few people. And so that's exactly what I did. And I just started doing this part-time, is just start sharing some gift cards and sharing my story, mainly, not so much selling the products, but really just focusing on my transformation story, and sharing that authentically and sincerely with people. And well, it really started to take off. And I was shocked when I started getting some big checks in the mail, over the course of some time. And eventually, it ended up turning into a full-fledged business. And my CPA started reporting the income on my tax return. My CPA said, you might want to form a corporation and make this official. And so what started off as a very part-time business, as my potential plan B, ended up turning into a full-fledged business that, as it started growing and I started analyzing it, I realized a few years in that I'm matching my W-2 income. I'm like, I make great money. And now this little side business that I do on the side here and there, it's actually equaling what I make at my demanding corporate full-time job. I'm like, what is going on here? I said, imagine if I put a little more attention into here, which, by the way, is something that I'm really passionate about, because I love helping people and seeing them benefit with their health. And so I thought, man, if I just put a little more effort into it, it could take off even more. And so that's exactly what I did. I decided to keep growing it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and you're providing something that you yourself take, you believe in, and the company has an awesome mission. But what I love about the business opportunity is that usually you sell this once to someone, they fall in love with it, and they order it every single month. They order it over and over and over. So it's like selling something once and getting paid every month.
Residual income, which
Residual.
in my opinion beats linear income every day of the week. And so that was also one of the concepts I learned, was the power of leverage and residual income. And that's exactly what this business is. And one of the people that I introduced this to was my cousin, who was a real estate broker and investor. I know you have a lot of real estate agents that follow you. So she was in real estate, very successful in the Tampa St. Pete area. And so in real estate, of course, it's basically a linear income model, a transactional income model. So, she was crushing it, selling homes, selling income properties, flipping, doing all the things, you know, doing very, very well with that. But it's like pushing the boulder up the hill every time. I mean, every time you close a deal, you got to chase your next deal.
It is
You got to
very
continually
active.
chase that.
It's
You
very
have got
active
to
income.
chase
Yeah.
that next deal. And if you sit on your laurels for too long, you'll find your pipeline empty. And that's a scary feeling when you're in transactional sales, is to look at your pipeline and say, I got nothing. And then you're at the mercy of the market. Let's face it. I mean, we have no control over the market, and the market, in real estate, as with many other markets, up, it's down, it's feast or famine sometimes. So she was also feeling the burnout of that. And so one question I asked her, which changed everything, and I asked her this, I said, as you look at your income portfolio, do you have a component of that income that is residual income? Or is it all just linear and transactional? And that really got her thinking, because as she looked at it, she analyzed and she said, you know what? That's true. I don't have the residual income. And I said, well, you may want to consider adding residual income to that overall portfolio that you have. And so that was a really powerful shift for her. And so she decided to join me. Her and her husband had an amazing health transformation. They went from like these foodies to, uh, you know, she actually became a health coach. I mean, she got so into it. She just went full fledged and became a health coach, but amazing transformation. And then, her with her, real estate background and sales background, she saw the opportunity like I did, and she decided to join me. And lo and behold, this became her exit strategy. And so she went from the grind, the hustle in real estate, grinding it out. It's funny because I called her one night. I think it was on a Saturday night. It was like about 10 o'clock at night. And I could tell she was out. I'm like, where are you? Like, she's like, I'm showing a house right now. I'm like, at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday? She goes, well, listen, you understand, I have to be available when people are available. She said they work during the day. So it means, showing houses at odd times, being available almost 24/7, because when a deal comes in, you got to move on it immediately. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be on vacation. You got to move on that deal and make it happen, because time kills all deals. So really, you got to get that thing go. You got to get the contract moving, get all the pieces together. And then you could do everything right, Lance. You could do it all right. And at the 11th hour, at the closing, the deal falls apart. Buyer and seller get into a fight. They change their mind. No, we're not going to do it. There's escrow, whatever. And so it is just, it can be really, really, really stressful. And when you deal with stress, workplace stress or work-related stress, it's one of the most dangerous, debilitating stresses that there are, especially for top performers, for people that set a very high bar for themselves. It starts eventually, it takes a toll on your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. And so long story short, she joined me. She was one of the first people that joined me. There were many others after that, but that's just one success story that comes to mind. And I should say, ignited a wave of growth and momentum that, as I look back today, it's helped me to build an organization of nearly 100,000 customers and brand partners all around the world in 2 continents, multiple countries, 2 continents. I have a business that is generating residual income 24 hours a day. I mean, right now it's about 10 o'clock at night, almost 11 o'clock at night in Europe. Here we are on the East Coast, and then we have our partners in Hawaii. It's 6 hours earlier than it is now. So it's like 10 o'clock in the morning for them. So the business is running 24/7, whether I work or not, even in my sleep. Sometimes I get up and I did more sales in my sleep than I did when I was awake. And I'm like, I should go to sleep more often to make money. But long story short, it's a beautiful business model that's sustainable, because everyone eats foods. And when your body, when you feed it the right nutrients, it begins to crave those nutrients. It wants it all the time. So we have one of the highest repeat order rate in the entire industry. I've had customers that have been ordering consistently for the last 13 years. I know you, Lance, have been using this product for many, many years already. And it's because the products are work. They're the real deal. And so when you just build upon this, it's really incredible. And so in 2020, I was able to leave that demanding corporate job. That was my exit right in the midst of COVID. It was perfect timing. And so I was able to pursue this full time. And then I set a goal to retire my wife. She left her corporate job after 17 years last year, and she's joined me now. So we're together working this time freedom business from anywhere and on our terms. So we truly live now with purpose, with passion. We have complete schedule control, which is awesome. We love to travel. We just took an amazing trip to Spain. We like to go to Europe, at least once a year, if not more. Last year we went to Australia, New Zealand. So we love to travel. We love to just live a life that's flexible on our terms without having a boss telling us what to do or begging for vacation time. And so this has been a massive upgrade, not just to our health, but to our overall lifestyle. I can tell you we truly enjoy life now. And my stress level, Lance, it's come way down, way down. I am super, super, super chill now, and so I can tell you that this has truly made me a better person. And the best part is the people that I've gotten to meet. People like yourself, Lance.
Mhm.
People, like so many others that are part of this community that I've come to build not just business relationships with, but friendships, and that's been the best part.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I want to make a couple points before we wrap up that you reminded me of. You just mentioned that once you consume these nutrient dense foods, your body actually craves it. So that's why we get a lot of repeat orders. And that was the ultimate health hack that I learned is when you feed your body the right nutrients and healthy, real organic superfoods, you don't crave the junk food. Like that's the ultimate hack is once you heal your gut and do this, you crave healthy food and healthy food tastes good to you and you don't crave the processed foods. And when you do eat the processed foods, it tastes artificial and processed. So that's the ultimate health hack is just rewiring your craving. If you That's the hardest part. If you crave the bad food, you're most likely going to eat it. But if you rewire it to crave the good, it's so easy to be healthy that way. So that was one point. The second point, not just are Purium's products amazing, not just is the business opportunity amazing, but what I love about it is the education. Like they educate you on like food health and food labels and just all kinds of things. You learn about everything health, wellness, and food related, regardless about Purium products. And then another thing is the community, the support of just all these amazing people and customers or brand partners, just all these healthy people that are just advocating health for their family and loved ones. It's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. And then the third part is the definitely the business opportunity for real estate professionals. That is this I am digging my well right now. That is my exit plan because I don't want to sell real estate for the rest of my life. It is a very hustle culture. You're chasing the next deal. You're riding this commission roller coaster. You're at the mercy of the market and it is very active income. Like you don't get it's 100% commission based. You don't get paid unless you close deals. And if you don't have a pipeline of deals, you can go months without getting paid or commission. So this program, this opportunity, people order food all the time. Like you get paid out weekly from this. I get weekly commissions now. So
I love that.
I'm building that up to replace my real estate income and I'm going to follow you and Sonia's route because this is my passion. Like I love this. I love helping people with their health and their wellness where real estate it doesn't set my soul on fire. I don't wake up and be like, "Oh, I can't wait to find some houses," But I do wake up and with fire wanting to help people get healthy. So, with that being said, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to encourage anyone who might be watching this on the note you just mentioned is to follow your passion, to find what you're truly passionate about. And there's so many options today, so many routes. If you choose not to go on the route that we're on, the path that Lance or I are on, not a problem. We're not saying that this is for everyone, but find your passion. Find what you're most passionate about. If you find some alignment with what we've discussed today, if you're passionate about helping others specifically in this impactful area of health and wellness, I would encourage you, if you're watching this, to inquire, find out more, learn about first off how you can benefit yourself, how you can optimize your own health, uh, create a compelling, powerful story that you can share with others, and then how you can make a difference, how you can help someone else. Because money aside, Lance, perhaps the most rewarding part of this is seeing others, seeing their lives turn around, seeing them optimize, seeing them, you know, go from being sick to healthy, seeing them transform their lives uh, in so many ways, health wise, financially, just so many different ways. That to me is worth more than the greatest, you know, uh, check that you can ever get. So I thank you so much for providing the platform. Thank you for what you're doing and educating others and for being a part of our community. And I just want to encourage you, Lance, to just keep going. Rock on, man. Keep supporting others and wishing you massive success in your health and your entrepreneurial journey, and also any of you who might be watching this right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words, Eric. And now I like to wrap up every podcast episode with some funnies. So we do a joke off. We each tell a joke, and I will let Eric go first.
Okay, so this kind of goes along the lines of what we were talking about today. I'm not a joke guy, so this is hard for me. This is the hardest part of today's episode. So, what do you call a factory that makes okay products?
Oh no.
A satisfactory.
Satisfactory. That is good. I love
Okay,
fun.
which is not Purium. They're not satisfactory because they make amazing products.
Yes,
So,
yes,
but there's many okay products out there. So
definitely,
we'll call them
definitely.
satisfactory.
Awesome. I haven't heard that one, so that's an
All
original.
right.
I like it. All right, so mine is when you're at your corporate job and your boss asks you, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" You say, "Anywhere but here."
Sounds a little too familiar. I may have used that before, but I'm not gonna admit to it directly.
Yes, I thought that one was very fitting for the leaving your corporate
Yeah.
job one.
Well, on that note, worker satisfaction is at a historic all-time low. So I think that will probably resonate with a lot of people out there.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you for joining, Eric, and I will put all your info in the show notes. And thank you, everybody, for listening. That is a wrap.
Thank you, Lance.